G'day Spurs fans, Paul Hotspur hippie here, just on the outskirts, encroaching onto Wallara golf course, and I can assure you there's no cost of living crisis around these parts. Everyone seems to be doing rather well. Golf clubs don't pay for themselves, so work harder. We need more profit to buy more golf clubs. Anyway, it's a beautiful day here. I'm not going to let hoity-toity rich people get me down. One of them probably shout at me, even though it's a public space, but who cares, eh? Victory for the common man. I think we're in uncharted sort of waters at Tottenham a little bit at the moment. It seems to be thus far, that we are pushing through and keeping a manager, Ange Postecoglou, at the helm. I'm hoping that's the case. There don't seem to be any signs to the contrary, so that's something that I haven't seen at Tottenham for many a year. We'll see how that turns out. I mean, it's uncharted territory, because, you know, when I talk about the Ange Postecoglou choo-choo, I don't know if there's any tracks in front of it at the moment. This is all brand new to me. I think it's new to Ange as well, because I've not seen Ange dig out a player in public. I don't think he's done it. Maybe he has here and there, but it's not something I can recall. So this is uncharted waters or train tracks for Ange Postecoglou as well. I think the phrase might be even doubling down on his comments about Timo Werner after the Rangers game, where he not criticised, he said, he gave him feedback in a press conference. Now, what I think what Ange does in press conferences is he's talking to us. He's talking to the fans. I think the journos he doesn't seem to pay too much regard to, and I don't blame him, oily ticks that they are. He's talking to us, and I mean his comments about Werner, basically not putting in enough effort, and but whilst also praising younger players like Archie Gray and Luke Berevin, and I think that's fair enough, because one thing I did find a bit embarrassing about the Rangers game is the way that they showed more leadership than a lot of our senior players. And I'm just wondering what Ange's message is trying to get across here. He's telling us, the fans, that he knows the players are dicking around or not pulling their weight. Why now? Why not earlier? These are the questions that we can just speculate, I guess. Maybe he's just had enough. Maybe it's a slightly subtle dig at the board and Levy for getting in Werner in the first place. Now, I know loads has been said about, oh, these are Ange's players, and Ange bought this and Ange bought that. Look, he had final say, which means they give him a list of players, and if it's Werner and a packet of pickled onion flavoured Monster Munch, you're going to pick Werner, aren't you? So, you know, and he has given him lots of chances. And so it was embarrassing the way, especially, it was like a couple of minutes before the end, and Maddison went over, and he seems to have got rid of the habit recently of rolling over when he gets a gust of wind near him. He seems to have been toughening up a bit, but then he fell back on his old habits at the end of that game. 2 minutes to go. Okay, maybe we ain't going to win it, but we've got to show intent and at least try and do something. And it took Berevin to go over and pick him up, and I thought that was pretty shameful display by Maddison. So I'm just wondering if when Ange is singling out Werner, he's doing so perhaps because Werner's on loan, he's not a permanent player. He is a player that has been targeted by a lot of fans, I think a bit unfairly actually. As in the level of vitriol that players get. I don't like that. And maybe it's a message to some of the other senior players at Tottenham to pull your socks up. He said in the press conference I saw this morning that, because journalists say, what about egos and giving them a pat on the back and a rub down and a sweetie or whatever. And I think Ange is fair enough. He's saying, listen, if you, given our situation, which is having 15 fit players, if you need further encouragement to pull your dick out your own backside, then you're not a Tottenham player. You're not the right player for us. Go and find another club. He said that. He said, go somewhere else. And I think that's brilliant. It's good to hear a manager stake down his claim to the realm that he overrules. You know, I'm not for player power to that extent, and egos being massaged. They know what they've got to do. They've got a job to do, and I think it's not just a message for Timo Werner. I think it's a message for a number of our senior players that have been left a bit lacking when we've needed them. And I'm talking about the likes of, there's a few, Maddison, Romero, Bissouma, Son. And these are all players I actually like. You know, it's not like, well, maybe Maddison's wearing a bit thin on me at the moment, to be honest, but Bissouma's hot and cold. Son's been a little bit wobbly recently. I don't think his effort has been wanting, though. And it has been the younger players that have been doing their bit, or outstanding players like Fraser Foster in goal. He's been having a blinder at the moment. And we need these players to lift up the younger players, not the other way around. It should be Maddison lifting up Burville, not the other way around, setting an example that way. But it ain't happening. So it's some pretty strong words from Ange, but like I say, this is uncharted territory. I don't think we've gone this far with a manager on this run of form before. And really, I'm just sitting back and enjoying the ride. That's my take on it. I'm just going to see what story unfolds in front of me, because I've got no idea how this one plays out. No idea. I like that Ange is saying that there's nothing endemic about Tottenham that stops us from being successful, and that Romero's comments about the board were an excuse. Yes and no, I guess, on that one. But I don't think a player should be saying that sort of stuff anyway. They should just be playing football and keeping their mouth shut, really, ideally. All new. Will it get a little bit worse and then get better? Could do. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I believe will happen. Will it stink around for a bit and then get even stinkier? And that's what some people think at the moment as well, that at the moment this is as good as it's going to get and it's just going to all be downhill from here. But I don't think that's the case. I think Ange is calling the shots a bit more at Tottenham than is usual for a manager. I think this January transfer window, I'm hoping that these messages are getting through to the owners and that we fatten up the team a bit with some quality players. Because we have been, we've had a few hits and we've been having a few misses as usual in the transfer window. To me, it's not a question of dollars, it's about what you buy. I mean, I think Solanke is a great buy, brilliant. It's turning out as time goes on, maybe Maddison and maybe Bissouma. I like Bissouma, but there's just not enough Bissoumaness in his performances a lot of the time. Like Ange says, if you can't do it now, when we need you, when the bloody hell can you do it? You know, what's the point? You're just going to play when it's all nice and easy and rosy and everything's a done deal and we're 5-0 up and we're coasting or whatever. No. You've got to do it when it's hard. Just as I think, when we're being a fan, I think we've got to show support when things aren't going well and not boo them off the pitch, not go onto social media and slam the hell out of them. Sure, you can have your 2 cents worth and be critical or whatever, but the level it goes to on the internet is absolutely outrageous. It really is. It's disgusting. It's inhuman. It's psychopathic, basically. Everyone's hiding behind fake names and their true essence, which is a bit of a dick, comes out. Now, the other thing that Ange briefly mentioned was the Tottenham style of play. And again, I agree with him on all this. Tottenham does have a way of playing. We always have. Back from the 1920s, we've tried to entertain and play progressive football. And when we do that well, we are successful. I think Ange is dead right. When you've got a way about you at a club, you do that way, and it's the easiest road to success, believe it or not. The easiest road, because you carry everyone with you. Maybe times have changed, maybe I'm getting old-fashioned and people just want to win 1-0 these days. I think some people do. I don't give a shit about that. I want to see attacking football. And like Ange says, that doesn't mean you don't defend. Of course you bloody defend. But the onus is in scoring goals and leaving the fans something to remember, instead of just scraping 1-0 after 1-0 and 0-0 away and then jagging something. So, hey, look, I'm excited. I'm excited about what's happening at Tottenham still, believe it or not, because I've not seen this before. And that to me is, I don't know, it's quite interesting, isn't it? I'm thinking it will pan out great. I'm hoping it pans out great. I hope the players are getting this message into their thick skulls, because it has been the culture at Tottenham several times I've seen it. Not this bunch of players, but different players, where they take their foot off it, kick up a fuss, and we get a new manager, and then that mysterious new manager bounce, which I think is disgusting, happens for a few games, and then we do the same shit again. This time, fingers crossed, hopefully, we're going to stick with the manager and see how it bloody well plays out for once. And I think there's a great chance we'll come out of this the other side really strong, really strong. So I'm looking forward to the game against Southampton, Monday morning, 7 a.m. I'll be doing a watch along. Till next time, folks, peace and love, man. Peace and love, and come on, you Spurs.